Hello everybody, we are back with more Buried, and we're going to start chapter 3, so let's get into it. We're in a control room, okay. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated, from screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniaturized version of the operations center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. "Where's the first aid kit?" I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks as if he has forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. "Oh yeah," he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There he looks down by an open panel in the wall, what I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. Look at the computer monitors. Duh, I'm gonna freaking peer into this guy's business. I can make sense of very little that I see, mostly numbers, odd-looking maps, and charts. Altogether, they show what I assume is the working, beating heart of the peculiar facility Dennis and I have stumbled into. Aside from the charts, there are scrolling numbers running along the bottom of the screen. Some are temperature readings, but that's all I can tell for sure. I can see one screen in particular that I assume would mean bad news for anyone using these monitors for work. Failure. Trial 142B aborted. Error 45325. Danger. Anomaly detected. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. "Come on," I tell him, but he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving in this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up and then over his shoulders, as the dried blood holds it in place. Fuck. The mere act causes him to grimace. "This might hurt a little," I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. I'm gonna rip it off quickly, get the pain over with. Figuring that the old rip-off-a-band-aid metaphor applies here, I tear the shirt off of him quickly. Plus, I don't feel like we exactly have a lot of time. Dennis lets out a scream of pain and fury. "What the hell, man?" "Sorry," I say, casting the bloody shirt aside for the moment. Wincing in pain, he leans back against the wall and takes a series of deep breaths. His wound is more visible now, although it's partially hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim, basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I looked over to Marcus hopefully and asked, "You have any training?" "Zero," he says. "Sorry." It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happened on the monitors to be of much help anyway. I start by taking out the several rolls of gauze within the kit and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I had figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, that's for sure. But I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me, and he looks appreciative. But he's also scared. "Be honest," Dennis says hopefully. "How bad does it look? Do you think I'll live?" "You'll be fine, dude. I think I'll be fine." You choose to comfort Dennis. I mean, it stopped bleeding, so he won't die from blood loss, that's for sure. "Good to know," he says, "because I sure don't feel that way." "I feel like it. Feel like that." "You've been through hell," I say. "I think it feels worse than it actually looks." "Thanks, that's a relief." "I won't lie, you're going to have a scar," I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as they finish up. I place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with medical tape. I then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. "Thanks, Roger," he says, actually managing to force out a smile. "I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine." I'm not so sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. I look back to Marcus, and he is looking back at us, deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have left him off so easy. I really think I shouldn't have. God. "Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility?" I ask him. If there's something better, I don't know what it is. I noticed then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different now. just a slight change to his demeanor. He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened, more than he already was before. What is it? I ask. What's wrong? His eyes travel around the room, and it's obvious he's trying to decide whether or not to tell me the truth. Come on, spit it out. Just what in the hell is going on here? I ask, not even really sure I want to know the answer. His defiant gaze tells me that he's not going to be any help, so I decided to look around for myself. After a few moments, I see a few things that even I can comprehend, hidden in the complex information on most of the screens. On one screen, I see what looks like a power meter that's slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Oh god. Another message trickling along the bottom of the black screen says, "Safety locks on level 3 containment doors engaged. Override?" I see still scenes on a few other screens that I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in the facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were in just a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bitten in an impossible way. It looks like the body's legs and torso have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. What happened to that person? Duh. I have no idea. I don't see it, he says. Whatever's happened to that guy must have happened in the last minute or so. What the hell? There's something still happening? Are we still in danger? He turns away, clearly fearing he has already said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold, and my fear spiked at levels somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the logging site. The equipment is unmistakably mine. I can't even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment I consider just tearing into him, a few punches and a shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers, and I want them now, but I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking him calmly or kicking his ass. Question him calmly. I'm gonna be nice so he doesn't try anything. Excuse me. Could you please explain to me why you've been spying on my crew? My anger is prodding me, and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding a release. It's part of my job, mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched over ever since you set up your equipment. Why? Because you're working for heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground, less than a mile from a secret government facility. I had no idea of that, I say. How could I have known? Marcus gives me that same crooked, trembling smile that is beginning to creep me out. Because those things were to draw attention to this place, he says. You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy by about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property, the timber tract you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? He shakes his head and exhales like it's obvious. The cameras have been a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. So where's... Ask calmly, duh. So since you have all this surveillance, do you know where the rest of my crew is? I do my best to keep my voice level, even though my impulse is to shout. Well, Marcus says, all of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked, though. They might have come near the facility, or maybe not, I don't know. He says this casually, like it's not important. Well, are they inside the facility? I ask. You have cameras everywhere, right? Do you see them? Marcus shakes his head. I've been looking all over, and I have not seen my crew. Or I haven't seen your crew. They aren't here. But, yeah, the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us? I'm telling you, Marcus said, the depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. Ask calmly. Once again. What do all these people do here, I ask, keeping my voice level. He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further. He actually laughs when he gives me the answer. I honestly don't know everything, Probably very little, but what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops. What does that mean, I ask? There's scientists here who have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their work. You get it now? I don't, not at all, but I don't want them to know about that. You said there are 36 employees, I say. Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he's talking riddles. I don't... Oh, God, Dennis says. I look over to him, and he looks as pale as a ghost. He stood up, and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What? He simply points to the monitor and looks away. I look to the monitor and see the logging site. But more specifically, I see the overturned dozer and Tony's crushed body several feet away from it, from where I pulled it out. Tony. The fact of his death still seems abstract almost, like it happened in some other world or in a very long time ago. I know that you already told me he was gone, Dennis whispers, but it's different actually seeing him. My God. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled him out. Suddenly something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast and in shadow, but I'm pretty sure it's a person. Fuck. Someone else is here, Marcus says, wheeling around. He sounds very happy to discover this. I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis after revisiting Tony's death all over again. Someone just ran by the door, I tell him. Hopefully it's someone who can help us. You going to be okay? It's fine. Go see who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be as hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him as I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand, and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back at Dennis, I run out into the second level hallway. God, we had to leave Dennis, I guess. I didn't want to leave Dennis, but I guess we had to. I don't like this music. Oh my God. I don't. Marcus falls. There is still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away I notice that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are now all on. The hallway is adorned with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the walls. It's clear and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left, down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod and we continue chasing after the person we saw, blazed by the command center just moments ago. It then occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus was at first, armed and scared. Move towards them slowly, duh, you're not gonna freaking scare them. When we reach the intersection in the hall where I'd seen the shadow moving, I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there, about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. She looks terrified and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with dark jeans and a green Converse low tops. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about her sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for quite a while. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. It's Amy, right? She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. Yes, and you're Marcus. She nods absently and then looks to my rifle. I'm not going to use it, let's reassure her, because she's freaking scared. Now how do I know that? You're trespassing government property in the midst of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you? I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention, I say, and we're looking for the rest of our crew. I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are, she says. Do you know what's happened? Marcus asks. From the power outage? I don't know what caused it, she says, but there was an experiment taking place when the outage occurred. But there was an experiment taking place when the outage occurred. Something happened, and she trails off here, giving me a look of distrust. I saw things on the security monitors, Marcus says. The experiment failed, didn't it? I don't know any specifics, Amy says. I barely escaped the third floor. I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you and the gun. Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. She was gonna run to the command center. She ran past the command center. How is she gonna go to the command center? Alright. What has you so scared? Yeah, let's ask that. Amy looks to me, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you, anyway? I quickly give her my story, a logger stranded in the woods following a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. You're one of the loggers? Yes. She then looks to Marcus and says, I thought they were being watched. They were, Marcus says. This was a freak accident and there's no proof that they were responsible. I feel myself wanting to submit to all of the questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. Ask about medical help, because Dennis is more important than details. Come on. I decide, despite my curiosity, I need to get Dennis help as soon as humanly possible. Look, is there any medical help to be had here or not? Probably, Amy says, but you'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all those sorts of supplies are. And where is he? Where is everyone else? And at this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees, as if someone had struck her from behind. Gone. Some were killed and some were just... I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me. Disappeared? Yes, she answers. They were here 1 second and gone the next. Just... She snapped her fingers together for effect. Gone. Something's here with us, Amy says. We were conducting an experiment and it all went horribly wrong. Something came through. Came through what? Marcus asks. I don't even know that much. An entity, but whatever it is, it's still here somewhere. Is it the Wall Rider from Outlast? Seems like it. How could you not know? Don't you have full security access? No, I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance. So, what do you suggest we do now? I'm not sure, she says, wiping her tears away. But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge. Where is he? I ask. Down on the 3rd floor, in the hangar. Then let's go, I say. It's not that easy, Amy says, again looking to the rifle in my hands. Why not? Like I said, something came through when the power went out. There's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. Fuck. There's monsters. What came through? All I know is that the others refer to him as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horror she has seen. I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look. All I did was run for my life. Behind me, I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I don't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is insane. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus said. I'm sticking with you. If you want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right? Yeah, but Barksdale's on the 3rd floor and it's too dangerous to go back there. I figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me, getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look, and she quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Then let's get Dennis from the command center and head down together. I feel like Marcus and Amy are going to turn on me at any moment. Because Marcus wanted to kill me earlier, and Amy's kind of suspicious. Alright, we're back in the control room. We enter the command center, and I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. We're going to get you some help, I tell him, and then we're going to find our crew and get the hell out of here. Alright. More help would be great, he says. With the way you ripped off my shirt earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Damn, I shouldn't have done that. Wait, Amy says, maybe one of us should stay here with him. I'll be okay. He stands his feet for a grunt. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. Are there any of them on this floor? I'm not sure, she says, but they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods his agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center. Heading back out into the hallway, I look back to the monitors. I take a final look at the screen that shows my wrecked logging site and feel a pang of sorrow. Then I look to the other monitors showing live feeds of the facility's security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking for any sign of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing, and there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us is like a physical presence. Am I with Marcus or Amy? Sorry, that kinda went over my head. I think I'm with Amy. We're in the elevator, okay. There's 5 floors, 5 chapters. That's kind of interesting. We step inside the elevator and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean her no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have pretty high clearance in this place, right? I ask her. That's right. So what kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer my question, I can tell that it's something of a relief for her to get some of it off of her chest. There's been a lot of work on a project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there's any real, viable science behind point-to-point instantiation. I don't know what that means. Like, teleporting? Well, apparently the protagonist knows what that means. Oh my god, Marcus says. I had no idea. I knew there's some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane. It's really not all that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took the rat 5 seconds. It's crazy. Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he is mocking the idea, but he fails. He is scared. Oh, so everybody's in the elevator. I thought we left Dennis and somebody behind, but I'm not sure. Obviously they're in the elevator, but yeah. Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached and its intestines were on the outside of its body. What does that have to do with us now? Alright. Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made that same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon arrival. Unknit? Yes, deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it, right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course to its destination. When the process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that has risks. Why exactly? Dennis asks. Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on, she explains. There's some evidence that there are many as 10. So when you find the rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there? I ask. Basically. And because of that, we were trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Things that a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing. Hence all the privacy. Then today, the power went out, and as we were right in the middle of an experiment, something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. What have you seen in these dimensions? Other worlds, other Tegmark universes, whatever that means. Where our laws of nature don't apply. She says, not bothering to explain what happens, what that means. Sorry, guys, my nose really freaking itches. God, fuck. I'm not clear for such things, but do I get the reports? But I do get the reports. What reports? Marcus asks. I'm given access to the results of the test. In other words, Marcus replies, clearly upset. You guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. I can't believe I've wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's started to freak out. Amy is quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting, so I think it's supposed to be two, not so. To see how I react to all this. That's incredible. I'm not going to call him insane. What the fuck? You're impressed by Amy's work. So this is like interdimensional stuff.
In a way. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time I've been working for... He laughs cruelly, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. There's a single level beneath my feet. You assholes have been tearing apart space and time. When the elevator doors open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside of the elevator, we step out into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for us is unlike anything I'd seen in the upper levels. Alright. Oh god. I do not like this at all. The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeable than that is all the blood. My god, I've never seen so much blood. These creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There are more personnel in this area when the experiment went haywire, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get going, or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barksdale's in the hangar? I ask. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I am beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floor, the silence of level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. Sorry guys, let me check my phone real fast. Alright, sorry. I have company coming over here in a bit, so I might have to pause the game and finish it later tonight. Let's see. Amy, you take the lead. You know where you're going. I don't care if she's a girl. God, that sounds so funny. I'm sorry, guys. The four of us start walking ahead, Amy taking the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks to be 3 different people. It's hard to tell how many bodies there were because they have been torn to shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they've been fused together. Another man looks to have had his leg welded through the floor. I could see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror, his mouth pried open in an eternal scream. Let's investigate the bodies. Duh. I see half a face pushed down into the floor like a putty, barely attached to a separated skull. A single dead eye stares at me. I think I might puke. Behind me, Marcus does just that. I listen to him heaving. My eyes cannot leave the carnage. There's blood everywhere, a crimson pool flooding the area, or the floor. It would be nice if they had like background noises, like the puking and like the gunshots and stuff. As I listen to him heaving, my eyes... Oh, I've already said that. There are hunks of skin and tissue splattered on the wall, and a strand of unspooled intestine that clings to the floor like a dead snake. Dennis steps up beside me, and when he speaks, his voice is soft and flat. What in the hell could do that to someone? The things I saw, Amy answers. They could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes, and she's visibly shaking. But she soldiers on, looking back to me, and stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle, and she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. I'm gonna look around just for the sake of content in this video. I've never seen so much blood before. What's even more sickening than the mayhem is the unnatural look of it. I'm familiar with blood spatter. I've hit a deer at 60 miles per hour on the interstate with a load of logs hooked behind me, but many of these bodies have somehow been gently pushed into the wall, through the floor, halfway inside a desk, dead. No explosive power, just squeezed and pressed like clay, their faces contorted into screams, trying to comprehend what has happened to them. Still, I manage to steady my nerves. I take a few deep breaths, and I am finally able to continue forward. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed, it has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The girders look to have been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Beyond this phenomena, there is standard violence I was expecting to see. There's a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. Did you see what happened?
No, I'd like to ask about the people, not the girders. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says, taking a deep breath. I was closest to the exit, so I just started running. But it was like trying to focus your eye on something that was too close. People's bodies just started twisting and turning. And the thing that did this, it looked like she doesn't finish. She's cut off by some sound echoing through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like the static from an AM radio, but there's a high-pitched noise beneath that I can't even start to fathom. What in the hell is this? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says, her voice a whisper. One of the creatures. That's what they sound like? Dennis asks. I see that he's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot the next thing I see. Hold on, guys. I'm just gonna open my blinds for a second, so I can see when my company gets here. Alright, that's good. Alright, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to finish this later tonight. Alright. Anything between us and them? Not really, she says. None of the hallways are blocked off by secure doors. Everything seems to take this as the cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with new purpose in our step. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway, when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head towards the hallway in front of us. How much further to the hangar? No, how can you kill these things? That's what I need to know. I don't know, Amy says. Dennis speaks up, his voice like ice. And that's haul ass, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in on us like some new violent gravity. I gotta say, this game is really good, guys. I'm very impressed. Very interesting, and it's very simple. You just pick options. That's all you do. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area? I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask the question, but he only shrugs his response. She might know, he replies, pointing to Amy. She might know. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says. At the end there's a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see just how far the hall extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we've come from. We continue farther down, and just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asked Amy. 3, but that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did they look like? Dennis asked. Can we talk about something else? No, I want to know what we're dealing with. I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters. That's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big, and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's about all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me. That's great. She continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out. Angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow these things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's time. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves and get to the hangar. Fast. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years now. For years, though. She looks to me, pleading her case. Together we might be able to pull it closed behind us to keep those things back. This old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a hard time getting us if these doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar. Now! We should definitely lock the doors. Definitely. You should You decided to try to close the doors. God, I'm stuttering so much in this playthrough. Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway wall for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes, and I see a small metal frame that runs from the floor to the ceiling. Is that it? I ask. Yes, Amy says. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy, Dennis, and I start pulling as hard as we can. It barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter, and Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time. We need to go, Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. Help us, Marcus. Yeah, help us, Marcus. It won't make a difference, he says. Shut up and help us, and then we'll find out, I shout. God. Reluctantly, Marcus walks over and grasps the door. We all groan as we strain to pull. It starts inching slowly and then begins moving steadily. Once we get it started, it slides easily. Sorry, I'm just checking. As we're near the wall, closing off the hallway behind us, I think I can see the merest glimpse of an odd, illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slight thump of the hydraulic door being pushed against the frame in the opposite wall. Amy turns the lock into place. Great, now let's haul ass, says Marcus. We all turn and get moving again, still feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are two of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors of the hangar sit up ahead like an entrance to some enormous labyrinth. Okay. That does not look good. We reach the hangar doors as I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means? I ask. It's an automatic lock, a failsafe from the lockdown, says Amy. I've never been down here before, Marcus says. If I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center. You need to override from there first, then use the terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor? Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding? We just pulled that hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? Fuck, we did. If we want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center, Marcus says. Isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go through biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You two go. You know your way around this place, and you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says, but we need to be armed. Give Amy the... I don't know. Marcus hesitated to shoot, so I'm gonna give it to Amy. As Marcus said, he didn't think he could shoot anything. I hand Amy the rifle and she turns to go. Marcus gives me a concerned look, but follows along behind her. Once Amy and Marcus make it a good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Fuck, Dennis. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors? I ask. Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door, try to open it, and find that it's locked. Kick it down. I give it a frustrated kick, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear a gunshot from just down the hallway. My first thought is that Amy and Marcus have come upon one of those things, one of the monsters. But I don't hear any of the strange static sound I've come to associate with them. Alarm bells go off in my head, and before I know it, I'm heading back down the hall, away from the hangar doors. Stay here, I'll be back. Stay here, I'll be back. I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going? He asks. I don't bother answering him as I bound to the door where Amy and Marcus went. I literally just left Dennis by himself. What the fuck? That was dumb. Where am I? As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside of them. I am fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I overhear a voice, a woman's voice. It's Amy. Stop! Let go of the gun. I run ahead so fast that I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I am seeing, but it makes no sense. None at all. Marcus is wrestling with Amy, trying to take her gun away. I knew he was gonna do that. Marcus is evil. When this doesn't work, he throws her to the ground, starts choking her. Her face is turning purple, and her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Stop him! Marcus sees him coming out of the hallway, but acts as if he is doing is perfectly normal. You stop him. I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose, and I'm rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches at her neck and gasps for breath. I start to feel that I was a moment too late, just as I see that the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact moment that I do. Hit Marcus. Don't let him get the rifle. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, clipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee in his chest to hold him down when his left foot comes out of nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in my ribs, knocking the breath out of me. What the hell are you doing? He yells at me. By killing her, I'm saving us. All of us. This was her fault. I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not just attack her when we were all together? The answer is simple. We might have stopped him. He wanted to kill her in private. And then what? Would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he'd held a gun on us. I've been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dive for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession, but I'm not confident I'll come away from it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard. But if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Towards Marcus. Duh. I grunt as I push the muzzle to point towards his face. Realizing he's literally looking down the barrel of a gun, Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. There we go. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around him. For a moment, I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. I look to Amy, and I wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she's managing to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under their secrecy. You don't know what it was like to. He surprised me by lunging towards me, leaping from the air like a human projectile. I don't have time to aim carefully. I have to react. Try to dodge. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. Well, that was good. I don't want to have a gunshot go off and alert those creatures to where we are. Make a hard jab of the butt of the rifle, striking him in his chest. Something crunches and he lets out a whoosh of air. I think they got that cut out or something. He comes for a moment and he goes to his knees. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments I realize that they are not purely screams of pain. The bastard's calling for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. This place is evil, along with everyone involved, he yells from the floor. If you're taking your side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you'd better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy, as well as towards me for stopping, makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. But I am not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. Let him live. We're gonna be the pacifist for this. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he was coming at me, I can't bring myself to deliver a kill shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. I have to go, she says, her voice raspy. They'll be here in any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward and then I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors, I say. I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time, Amy says. You need to come with me up to the command center. Now. We'll be back for him soon. You're all dead now anyway, Marcus shrieks. If they don't get you, I will. He laughs maniacally after saying this, hooting like a madman. As if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following his noise now, Amy says, her voice still weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly push himself off the ground, stumble off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another voice sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time it also reminds me of recordings I've heard of whale songs. The sound of metallic creaking and crashing echoes through the door I came in through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as it's clear they're struggling with it, which is good. We have a bit more time. See, it's a good thing I locked that. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath like the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she is still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. At least you handed me the gun. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. We'll be fine, don't worry. I'm not so sure, she says, her eyes fixed straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I had just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally come to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us, a strangled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn around to face the biochem room, thankful we've been given a few moments to spare. The elevator doors remain open for 3 seconds before they start to slide closed again. And in those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A phosphorescent-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also into the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. That is the direction Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting him down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. I curse whoever designed those damn doors. Stand in the door ready to shoot, duh. We can't go anywhere, I figure, so no use in hiding. I take a step and stand firm in the elevator doorway. Why is the elevator not working? I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in a clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape and their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. The squid. Their gray and white seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every few feet or so. But I'm pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That peculiar effect on the air makes their movements seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle and see that my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to be choosy. Don't shoot, save ammo. I decide to conserve ammo. They keep advancing. Even though I know the doors may not close in time, I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spiral-like appendages poke through the wall and elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping these creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. I bet they did find Dennis, for shouldn't have left him. I've been sticking by that dude's side the whole game, and then they forced me to leave him. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. That's the end of Chapter 3. I'm going to take a break from this for the rest of the night, get some sleep. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. I almost forgot to show you guys the statistics for this, so we're going to do that now. The blunt truth. You and 59% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. Slow them down. You and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulic door. Who to trust? You and 69% of players gave the gun to Amy. Murder or mercy? You and 58% of players left Marcus alive. An hour later, you and 68% of players conserved your bullets for later instead of shooting the creatures. Alright, that's good to know. So far, the only thing that I'm not in the top 50% is to slow them down. Every other decision I made in this game has been in the top 50. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks.